Hey guys, it's the third episode of the Doge-O-Radio show. I'm your host, Trip96. My name's Jordan. I want to start with something I just watched, and it got me really excited. I just finished watching the video. The title is "What is Dogecoin?" After 3 weeks of creation, this animated video explains the answer's finally finished. Please take a look. That's the title on Reddit there. The user is HFN64. It's on the hot page. It came through to my front page on Reddit, so it seems to be getting a lot of popularity. Right now we're at 388 up rockets, and this video is so perfect. I couldn't even believe how well done it is. The script is perfect. The animations are awesome. Not that I have anything against SHIBE SPEAK or anything like that, but there's a lot of people, a group of people who are looking for a more, I guess the word would be, quote unquote professional image to Dogecoin, and this is just slotted perfectly to use as a marketing tool, a main marketing tool, and I hope this makes its way onto the Dogecoin website, which I understand was just recently redesigned as well. So, I mean, again, it's only been a couple months, and the quality and the amount of work and how fast things happen is astonishing. But if you guys have not seen this video, make sure you go check it out. I shared it on Facebook, Twitter, all my outlets, because, like I said, when I was watching it, it hit so many points and was so clear and concise and paced well, and the animations were top. Like, everything about it is awesome. It's from a marketing perspective, which I try and stay within your circle of competence. That's where mine is. So this is what I'll be showing people if I ever have to promote Dogecoin and I can't be there in person, or even if I am, this is a video that I would definitely use. So guys, look it up. Support it, love it. I talked about my show and the changes that I'm going to make. So this week I'm excited to have a guest on the SHIBE Speak. His name is Frank from Seattle, and when I'm done babbling here, we'll get into that section. I just recorded it last night with him. He's an awesome guy, super positive, super excited, and I think you guys will be inspired by what he has to say. Our conversation went really smoothly. It wasn't scripted or anything like that. I talked to him for about 10 minutes before we started, and then we hit it off, and I was like, I think we can just probably record us going here. I had one or two questions that I wanted to throw at him, and then we rolled with it. So I'm excited to present that to you guys today. I also watched the live stream of Dogecoin San Francisco, or Dogecoin, I guess, and it was pretty cool. Everything got put in place in a relatively short amount of time, and it seemed like it was a pretty crazy party, which is good. It was a little bit hard to hear, but that's the acoustics of the room and the vibe of the guests, right? Everyone's excited and wants to talk and party. So in my eyes, it went pretty well. There was an interesting idea that I always try to keep hitting home here, is that there's a group of people, most people, 99% of people, aren't using digital currencies. And as I always say, it's better for them, better for us. It's a smart way to use it. And if you watch this video, it's so clear. You're like, oh, sometimes I stumble with how I'm trying to present it to people or here. And through this video, it's summed up really nicely. There's some upcoming events. We obviously have the NASCAR race, the Buy Something with Doge Day, and an idea that I saw from the Bitcoin forum. This is a really cool idea, but maybe Moolah can do this. I don't know about legalities and things like that. I can imagine there's probably problems, but there's the first Bitcoin debit or credit card, which, if you can get Dogecoin or any digital currency and package it in a way that people already know how to use, then you're really looking to succeed. Think about if you had a debit card. I use a debit card in Canada, and I get charged like $20 a month, maybe even more. It's around $20 a month, I would say, average for using that card, which is kind of outrageous because I'm not really spending too much money. Of course, if you were to make a Dogecoin card, there might be some slight fees, but I can't see it being outrageous like that. So that's something that would be really successful, and could help the community out that way, and help the adoption rate of Dogecoin. Because I'm still with the idea that most wallets win. The more people that don't use digital currencies, that get into digital currencies, probably through Dogecoin, because of its accessibility, its friendly nature, its helpful nature, and how easy it is to get Dogecoin. The video that I was talking about earlier says, hop onto the Reddit and get your first coins. And that's so true. That's how I got my first coins, just introducing myself to the community a couple months ago. So, yeah, think about it. This is kind of a shout out to Mula or anyone else that's in the financial game. A creditor, a crypto creditor, or a digital currency creditor, or not even a creditor, but a debit card. So if you had an account that Mula hosted and they gave you a card that works, in existing technology, that would be huge. The halvening, I talked last week, and I wasn't sure if I was going to get another show in before, but it looks like I am, because it keeps on slowly getting pushed back. But still excited for it. It's our holiday. I'm going to give a prediction, because I'm not trying to play around and, stay super neutral, but I expect not too much to happen during the halvening, but I would expect, hopefully, that's a funny phrase, expect hopefully, but I would expect the price to slowly increase. There's pressures in the market. There's this idea that if it becomes unprofitable, miners will leave. I'm not going to leave. There's the defense force, which I'm actually not officially a part of. I'm going to have to get in touch with the good SHIBE about that. But there's different pressures that push the price in ways, right? So we have a mass dumping of coins every day into the market, which creates a little bit of a sell pressure. The miners leave, the difficulty changes, the hash rate changes, all these things happen. But I hope that a slow increase of price is going to be our future here. I mean, our community is growing, and Dogecoin was awesome and successful and everything like that. So back to my idea of, not my idea, but the idea of getting people involved using digital currencies. Now, you could get into super technical babble with them about, transaction fees and things like that. But the idea was thrown around, and I forget who it was, so I'm not trying to snake your idea or anything. But if merchants that supported Dogecoin, and I'm not saying all merchants, but those who, see the benefits of the technology, could offer small discounts. Now, I'm a small merchant, and to process credit cards right now, it costs me approximately 4% once the credit card takes their money. Then the POS, my point of sale system, takes a little bit of chunk. Then my bank for processing fees and statement fees and all these crazy things that happen. I'm losing about 4 or 5% maybe. That simple discount, if you offered 5% for anyone paying through digital currency, particularly Dogecoin, because that's what we're trying to promote here, just passing that saving on to the user, or a portion of that saving, 2%, 2.5%, allows you to say to someone, why would I use Dogecoin? And your answer can simply be, because it's cheaper, because you get a discount, because you want to buy Nutella, it's going to cost you less money. You want to buy X, it's going to be cheaper than if you paid with credit card or cash. Like, the price itself will be cheaper. That's a merchant providing a discount. Now, there could be those who go gung-ho and offer 10%, 15%, 20%, whatever it is. But as long as the statement is true, it's enough to pique the interest of the person, because 2% is a small discount, but you're not, it's not a lie or anything like that. And it's enough for them to be like, okay, maybe I will check it out, right? It's so elegant. It's so easy to just tell someone you're going to save money, and in a simple way, right? Instead of getting into too much technical information, because this was brought up in Dogecoin San Francisco, and I thought it was a really, really good idea. It's important to compare the way that digital currencies, Dogecoin in particular, work versus established payment methods and the comparison was made between credit cards. So if you were to use a credit card, you know, for any of us online, you just type in your numbers. If you're at a store, you swipe it, or we have chips in Canada, you insert the chip, type in your code, you're good to go. Really, there's a ton of stuff happening behind the scenes there that you don't need to know or understand or be aware of, which could be the same situation for Dogecoin, which is why the Dogecoin debit card or Dogecoin credit card is a great idea, because it puts the currency onto an existing medium. Let's say the credit card is the medium, so that people can use it. Because you sometimes get stuck with the question of, well, what gives it value? And then there's more of a philosophical debate there, and it's hard to get new people to wrap their heads around the way that even fiat currencies actually work. The magic that's been instilled over generations and generations is just that my Canadian dollars or my US dollars are the way it is. Like, it's an ingrained sort of system that you don't question. And so the comparison between a Dogecoin transaction and a credit card transaction is really good, because credit cards do all kinds of crazy technical things behind the scenes, just like Dogecoin does with the blockchain and sending of information online, all those things, confirmations, etc., etc. Which for some reason I always find myself falling into the trap of explaining. So someone would be like, "Oh, why is Dogecoin worth anything?" The same reason that fiat is, really, and like I said, it digresses into a philosophical debate that you're probably just not that you're trying to win, but you're never going to push it through unless you have like 2 hours in a lecture hall full of people who are actually already interested, right? So it would be interesting if there's a way to not even avoid, but to disregard the technical babble part of the way digital currencies work, right? It's hard to move around it, but I think my new tactic is going to be, well, do you know how credit cards work or how your debit card works? No, not really. Well, this is the same thing. It's a payment method, right? It's actually easier. For me, if I was to buy anything on my debit card or credit card, I have to insert it into a special machine. I have to push, certain account, certain different buttons, like, do I want a tip or this or that? It's about 4 or 5 buttons. Then I have to put in a code. Then I have to wait for messages of approval. And that process is actually longer and harder than it would be if the merchant just simply accepted, my QR code, or I scanned his QR code and sent the Dogecoin to them that way. Which is kind of funny. Like, it occurred to me the other day that it's actually harder for me to use my debit and credit card, but it's an established form of payment, right? So whoever came up with this Bitcoin debit card, I'm sure you guys, if you're interested, you can search for it, is onto something, because my guest in SHIBE SPEAK, Frank, talks about it's got to be easy. Like, it has to be so easy to do that that anyone can just simply do it, right? And this actually goes back to the long, serious shaving Satoshi's yak dev update, which is at the top of the Reddit, in the subreddit in big red writing, and they're talking about how to modify the wallet. Well, not modify, but what changes can be done to the wallet and the underlying frameworks. I think they're talking about separating the way that the core works from the way the UI works, which is an awesome idea, because if you can pay with Doge just by clicking a button, instead of copying, pasting, and those things, which I understand. I was on a website, one of Moolah's websites. I was testing out a gateway of mine, and I said, there's a button on the website that said pay with Dogecoin. It opened up my wallet, and all I did was put in my password and it worked. That was pretty smooth, but it could be smoother. It could be smoother than PayPal. It could be smoother than credit cards, right? This is a currency that is built off the framework of the internet. And so it could be as simple as just paying, right? And another idea that was brought up in DogeCon San Francisco is the marketing guy on one of the panels with the nice sneakers said he likes TD Waterhouse because he gets all his statements in one sheet. He gets it at the end of the month. He can see where the money's going, where it's coming from, gives that to his accountant so the taxes can be figured out easily. That's a cool idea, and there's a place there for another financial institution or financial group. Like, I don't want to put everything on Moolah, but this is a project that would work with them, that shows where your Dogecoins are going, where they're coming in from, and all of that stuff, the same way a bank statement works. I guess that involves hosting your wallet, which seems to be not a problem. They have a wallet hosting service, definitely. They're an exchange, so obviously they host coins. But that's a good idea. And again, bringing it back to, it's kind of like the idea of the Trojan horse almost, where it's dress it up how people are comfortable with it. You're not attacking Troy or anything like that, but you're dressing up Dogecoin or cryptocurrencies or digital currencies in the clothing of currently accepted payment methods. And then once it's like, it's like signing up for a new credit card or signing up for a new debit card. Then people are like, oh, okay, so I don't have to pay, outrageous transaction fees, et cetera, et cetera. And that's certainly a way to mass adoption. That's certainly a way to get the masses on board because they're already using those technologies. And again, it's the situation where once you do your first thing, once you get involved slightly, even just a bit, it takes off from there. That's a story I've heard from people I've talked to. It's a story Frank has. You'll hear his introduction story, which is awesome. I didn't know until he just went ahead and said it, and I was just smiling the whole time, thinking this is an awesome way to get involved in the community. And once you're involved, though, you start to see the benefits. And then Dogecoin is the happiest place on the internet. It's if you think about Dogecoin as a company, like PayPal is a company, and you see what they've done in the short amount of time. And like, we have the best tech support. We have the best social support. We have the best charity. We have the best marketing and workers, basically. Like, it's crazy how much has been done. And if you think about Dogecoin as a company, it's an obvious investment because, I mean, just the sheer amount of crazy quality work that's been put out in the past couple months, and the reach and the I could go on forever. I'm sure everyone's sick of hearing that too, but anyways, the idea is mass adoption for me, and that's the way to go. There's some things that I think we should do here. The buy something with Doge Day is awesome. If you're looking to buy something from me, I sell matcha green tea. I will sell recording services because I work in a recording studio. Or if you have a song that you'd like remixed or mastered, we can work out a price. This is a little bit of a plug to my studio, Hannahkin Studio. Hannahkin.com, HANNAHKIN.com. You can buy the matcha tea on the website there. I apologize that like my pictures and the store is not as polished as it could be. I have a Moolah store, and I'll probably put the link down there below. Our matcha tea is awesome, by the way. I drink it every day. It's what our artists drink when they come in. If you're a green tea drinker and you're looking for some super high quality matcha, it's also from China, not Japan, so you don't have to worry about radiation. We changed suppliers because of Fukushima. Because again, I drink it every single day, so I don't want to be growing a third eye. Actually, a third eye would be okay, but I don't want to be growing, something crazy. Another idea that would help with adoption is exclusivity. So if there was something that you could only get with Dogecoin, that's up for merchants to decide, but I want to put it in people's heads, put it into the space. I want to say it out loud. Exclusivity, guys. If there's something that you can only get with Dogecoin, it may give people a reason to use it. Another cool idea that I was aware of a long time ago, but it seems to be picking up traction, is the Universe Project Void Space. They're using Dogecoin as an in-game currency. Now imagine if World of Warcraft, Guild Wars, all these MMOs and Second Life, EVE Online, all these things used a standard currency, Dogecoin, Dogecoin, and they use them in their games, what that would do to the value. One of the markets that I see that's accessible right now is the gamer market, the PC gaming market. Twitch.tv is one of the biggest sites on the internet. If you had gamers using Doge, and I'm in the game, in game would be cool, but even if they're tipping each other, or buying games, selling games with Doge, that is a huge market that penetrates popular culture. Okay, we have words like own and pwn and leet and all these things. Yes, they come from computer culture in general, but they are popularized by the gamers. Okay, like it's a needle into the popular culture. Gamer culture can get you mainstream, and I mean mainstream. Something to consider. And I want people to comment on the show. Like, I want to start discussions. I'm hoping to have some more discussion. You guys can send me audio files. If you want to send me an audio file, just get in touch with me right now, or email it to me if it's small enough. I'm going to put those audio files on the Doge Park Bark. So yeah, get in touch with me, guys. Like, let's get it going. I want to hear people. There's lots of text on Reddit and not too much listening or talking. So that's something to consider. Something that's a little bit funny and lighthearted is, I think I've become addicted to price fluctuation. And I've seen this with Bitcoin forums as well. I sometimes lurk on the Bitcoin talk forums. And it seems that people are a little bit upset if price goes down. People are really happy when price goes up. This is the same for Dogecoin. But if price goes sideways, it seems people are most unhappy, which is a funny thing. I find myself in that group too. Like, it's a weird situation. Something I want you to think about. Maybe you laugh to yourself when I say that. Are you addicted to price fluctuation? Back to my marketing. I would like to see marketing to the 5-year-old to 25-year-old crowd. These are the trendsetters. These are the people who determine quick viral, massive adoption. I mean, this is where you get the Justin Biebers, the Miley Cyruses, all of these things. Now, they attach a moral compass to those people, good or bad, whatever. Bottom line is, everyone knows who they are. Everyone knows about it, them in particular, and the outreach is huge. And that's what you're looking for. You want to be popular. You want people talking about it. There was a speaker at DogeCon San Francisco that said, yeah, haters gonna hate. There's people that don't like Dogecoin. But if there's people that don't like it, it's way better than apathy. If you don't know or don't care, it's way worse than the person that's actively against it, right? It's an interesting idea, but from a marketing perspective, it makes sense. And you see this time and time again. That's just the way it is. My dad always used to say there's no such thing as bad press, which is kind of true, kind of not true, because you can see China's banning Bitcoin again for the 20th time this year already. It seems like they do it twice a month, and the price goes up and down. But at the end of the day, there's more awareness. And I watched a small Warren Buffett lecture, and he basically said, if you come up with your idea, don't get caught in the day-to-day things, because if you're a sheep, not a sheep, you're never gonna win that game. I mean, there might be one guy that wins the day trading game. There is just one guy that wins, the day trader, but it's not something that you got to really worry about on a day-to-day basis. And my last topic that I want to talk about, and I have no affiliation with these guys, although they do operate around the corner from me. Waterloo is not too far away, or Kitchener is not too far away, Brantford, where I live. So I'm just west of Toronto, so I'm pretty close to the Vault of Satoshi, but they have done something I think is important for crypto, and I want to props them, I want to promote them. Again, I have no affiliation, although I do sometimes trade there. I've never been to their physical location, although I plan on visiting sometime soon. But they released the full proof of solvency, so they make it available for the public to see that the coins are where they are. And this is not an audit, but a full proof of solvency, which is so important. It prevents your your MTGOX. People say Mount Gox, but I think it stands for Magic the Gathering Online Exchange. So MTGOX situations, and the shady exchanges that go up and down all the time. These guys are trying to do it right. So just want to say props to that. That's awesome. And I support it, and I support you guys. Plus, their UI is nice. I like blue and white. It's cute. And now I'm going to move into the SHIBE SPEAK section. So I'm just going to slot that recorded file into today's podcast. So here we go. All right, so I'm excited to start the first episode of SHIBE SPEAK, which is where I have a guest on. And this week's guest, the first guest, approached me on Reddit, and his name is Frank, and I'm going to let him introduce himself. So go ahead, Frank.
Hi, everybody. Thanks, Jordan, for having me as your first guest. I'm from Seattle. My name is Frank Oliver, and I'm just a regular guy who just got interested in Dogecoin pretty recently. Like I think it was early February when I started to get out of my house and go look for somebody. Like I was just going on the block, does anybody have Dogecoin? And I was like, I would go on Craigslist, does anybody have Dogecoin? And I found some guy who was selling it, and it was like the joke that people say, like, I met a guy in the alley. It was kind of like that. I was trying to find this guy, and he goes, oh, meet me at Starbucks in downtown Seattle. I'm like, okay, which one? And I was like, meet me in the parking lot, and if you're not there in 5 minutes, I'm taking off. Well, he really did have to take off, because he was actually driving across town on his lunch break to meet up with me and sell me some Dogecoin for some cash. And I was like, this kind of feels fishy that I'm meeting this guy, and I don't even know who this guy is. I'm trying to find him in the parking lot. We had bad information through text, so like, what do he look like and what I look like, and so I felt like an idiot just stepping into this. But I had to get past that, because I really need to get started. I don't know where I'm gonna get Dogecoin, how I'm gonna. I was just completely illiterate to how it worked online, and I figured, okay, I just want to meet somebody face to face and do this. So when I met him, I was like, oh wow, you're the first guy I met who's a SHIBE, and I'm like all excited about meeting somebody. He's like, yeah, okay, whatever, just give me the cash, and give me the Dogecoin. Okay, yeah, okay, fine. So I gave him cash, and he gave me this piece of paper with a dog on it, and I was like, what is this, the doggy coins? And he goes, it's Doge. And I go, oh, I'm sorry. And it's like, I'm looking at it, I go, what is this? And he goes, it's a paper wallet. And I go, what do I do with it? And he goes, you take it home and you load it on your client on your computer. I said, okay, I'll try to figure out. And I was bugging him throughout the night and getting this thing activated. And I appreciate that he helped me out, because from that point on, I was starting to get the flow of it. I had to do it myself, and that was something that kept me away from doing Bitcoin, because it was extremely technical at the time, and I had nobody to talk to in person. And so when it got off the ground, it was too late for me to get in, because I wasn't going to invest that type of money. But Dogecoin was so low entry. It was so affordable for me to just play and try, and so I got in that way, and so from mid-February on, I just been trying different ways of doing things so that I could be able to tell somebody how to do it, and I'll give them the options and see what they're comfortable with, and show them the way.
That's an awesome introduction to Dogecoin. I wish mine was so flashy. I didn't realize that was how you were introduced to the community. That's awesome. So Frank, you've done something that I think everyone should consider doing. We've talked really briefly before I started recording this podcast here, and that is you started a meetup in the Seattle area. Is that correct?
That is correct. Yes. All
right. So why don't you just give us a rundown of how you came up with this idea and how you executed it and what your results have been so far?
So I'm completely honest. I was extremely intimidated by the media that's out there for Bitcoin. And it's like it sounds like a bunch of software developers, a lot of VCs, guys that make 10 times, 20 times more than I make in my life, and they're talking about Bitcoin. I was like, how am I going to fit in this group? And that's what I thought this meetup was about. And so I go on meetup.com, and I was like, well, maybe there's a group already. So I type in Seattle Dogecoin, and like nothing showed up. Okay, maybe I typed it in wrong. Seattle, Dogecoin. Nothing came up. I go, what's gives? I'm in Seattle. I'm not saying we're Silicon Valley, but we're a very technical area of Northwest. And I was surprised there was no Dogecoin. City. Yeah, big city for tech stuff. And so I was like, okay, where's the Dogecoin group? And I was surprised that there was no Dogecoin group for Seattle. There was tons of Bitcoin stuff, but not Dogecoin. And I was like, okay, well, it just takes someone doing something. And I walked in knowing that I'm not going to know everything. I just cared enough to try to bring people together, and I was amazed. As soon as I registered the group, boom, I was getting emails. I was like, is this for real? And it's like, when are you going to have your first meeting? I said, I'm working on it right now as we speak. And we had our first meeting about 2 weeks ago at Seattle Center. And at the time, I was supposed to have, I think 5 people show up. 3 people showed up after all. And it was 2 very dedicated, enthusiastic people who showed up. It was Mark Corey and a guy named Angel who showed up. And then we had a third visitor, and he was a Bitcoin person. And he was just there to ask some very skeptical questions. And I was surprised. We were able to answer his questions where he was comfortable with our answers and felt that we were good guys. It's like, he came in thinking that we were just another altcoin that was doomed to fail, but he saw how enthusiastic we were to promote Dogecoin and what it meant to us. And it wasn't just, we're just another coin to compete with Bitcoin. We were here to help people get involved in cryptocurrency. It wasn't a competition. It was just a matter of a stepping stone, whether they want to stay in Dogecoin or not. It was just the fact that it was easy for people to get in, easy for them to understand, and it was a very good community to be part of. And so I felt that excitement from them. I was really excited that we're gonna have fun meetings from this point on. And it's like we're gonna have our next meeting next Thursday, May 1st, and this time we're gonna rotate around Puget Sound. We had it. First one was Seattle Center. Now we're moving. We're going to have our next one in the East Side in Kirkland at a cafe, and we've been passing out flyers since the last 2 weeks. So I'm hoping there's going to be a bigger turnout this time.
Oh, that's awesome! And I just finished watching the San Francisco DogeCon or Dogecoin conference, and Save Them Hood had a special message, and I think it goes along with I don't want to speak for you, Frank, but I think you agree with this, and it's definitely one of my messages, is bringing people who don't use digital currencies or cryptocurrencies into that world. And your story that you shared with us at the beginning kind of shows how, Bitcoin was around, you were aware of it, but you felt it was unapproachable or monolithic, or you just never got involved for whatever reason. But along comes Dogecoin, and you're actively participating. And what makes Dogecoin special is the community is unlike anything that digital currencies or cryptocurrencies have seen so far. It's extremely social, extremely generous, extremely helpful, and very approachable and accessible. And these things are what cause those viral outbreaks of community and those type of things. And that's where the strength of the community really lies. It's a community, right? It's not the technologies. There's nothing new with script-based cryptocurrencies. Litecoin, we're basically based off the same technology as Litecoin, but it's the community that drives it. And the work that people like you do, starting the meetups, and like you said, you jumped into the fray, and you had no idea what was going to happen, and it all turned out pretty good for you, right?
Yeah, I love it. I mean, the people that I've met so far talking about the meetup or are actually going to the meetup, they're very enthusiastic people. It sounds like I'm reading someone's post on the Reddit forum. Is that excitement?
Yeah.
And we don't really get that technical. We just want to share and share whatever we know. We tip each other. In fact, one of the things that we're going to be doing from this point on in our meetup is have Dogecoins for donating to someone to get them started. So they show up, hopefully they show up with a laptop or a smartphone, and we just load them up and get them started. And we can practice there and trading. But majority of what we do is just talk to each other, and it's kind of like a fellowship thing. We're there we congregate and we talk, and we're excited that we met somebody who was just excited about us, about the future. And that's what I feel about this. And for me, like you said, it's not the technology, it's the community. I look forward to reading the forum, especially now that we have these comic artists going in there who kind of take all the drama or take all the challenges they were dealing with and then turn it into a caricature. It's funny. Yeah. And I chuckle a lot. And it was like I haven't had this much fun about something like this because, before, it was... one of the reasons why I got in Dogecoin is because of what happened with the financial crisis, and I think a lot of people, it was an extreme downer for their lives, and it took me some years to recover financially and emotionally from what happened, because I never expected something like that to come in my life, and I didn't expect something like this to come in my life either with Dogecoin. It really add happiness to my life that wasn't really there before, and I found this focus where I can channel all my energy, and it's like exercising. You go jog, you do something, and you get pumped up, you get energized. That's how I feel exactly with Dogecoin. It's like I look forward to meeting people. I look forward to learning something from them, building on an idea, building our community, and I'm looking forward to when the weather starts changing here in Seattle, where we're going to have more sunshine and have more opportunities to go out and meet people and talk about it.
Yeah, for sure. One of the slogans I like to see, and I see it thrown around quite a bit, is the friendliest place on the internet. And it's so true. Like, if you've spent any time online, it's hard to come across a place that's more positive, more welcoming than the Dogecoin folks at the subreddit or wherever you are, the IRC, wherever it is. It's definitely a big plus.
Yeah. I've never took interest in forums because, as people know, is that you go into a forum, it starts off in a good argument with some good debate, and then bam, it goes to something personal, and it just turns into insult after insult, and there's no one to stop. They just keep on doing it until one of them just peters out, and it's like, why? Well, none of us care anymore. And it's like, we don't even want to read the rest of it because it's getting stupid. And it's like, you see that everywhere, even in legitimate magazines online. The people comment, and like half the comments are just personal attacks, and it's like, I don't know what drives people to go to that extent where you have to insult people like that. Just have a decent conversation about something, and that's what I like about the forum, is that whatever little quirks that come up that are like that, they quickly dissolve, and it goes right back to our game plan, that is stay together as a community and be welcoming to new Shibes.
Yeah, absolutely. It's funny how much I feel like an echo. I feel like I'm echoing you. Everything you're saying is exactly how I feel. So for the people that are listening, what can they do to help Dogecoin, or not help Dogecoin, but bring people into the community? Because there's other groups that try to get people involved, but I feel like there's nefarious purpose behind it, and I don't think that's the case with Dogecoin. I mean, there's a little bit to gain personally, perhaps. If a lot of people join, perhaps the value will go up, and if you're an investor, you bought low and the value goes up, you've obviously made a little bit of money that way. But at the end of the day, using Dogecoin and being part of that community is actually a positive thing for a new user too, right? So how can regular people, regular Shibes or Sheebs, do what you're doing and help make local geographic communities? That's really what you've done. You've brought the people in your area together. So,
well, Bitcoin has to answer the same questions too, and that is, why this, why that, why do I need to use Bitcoin, why do I have to use Dogecoin, why do I use any of this funny money that doesn't exist? I can't touch it, I can't see it. I still have to deal with those questions every day, and well, the good thing is that it all comes down to just striking a conversation with somebody. Yeah. You'll be surprised how much they know. I'm surprised how much people have changed or have been become aware since the financial crisis. I personally didn't think about money until that happened, and then I saw how easily money was made. And I started investing in silver, and silver was the reason why I got into cryptocurrency, because when I held that silver in my hand, I realized I had something of value that other people had intrinsic value, because other people saw the value in it. Didn't matter if there was value or not. We all believed there was, and that's all that mattered, is the belief that there was value. And when I had that in my hand, and I had a paper dollar in the other hand, it's like, well, this is just paper.
Yeah.
And it's like, this is real too, as well as this. I can go somewhere, an exchange, like a coin shop or something, and trade it for $1, or trade it for something else, for gold or some other metal, or something of value. And I start seeing another perspective on how to trade, to do transactions. So when I saw Dogecoin and Bitcoin, I was like, okay, well, this is no different from what I've dealt with silver. The volatility is a little bit more, but I'm already used to it because silver and gold is volatile, but it is not crazy volatile.
Yeah.
And same thing goes with Bitcoin and Dogecoin. People complain about how the prices go up and down, but if you've done any day trading or any speculation in stocks or trade silver, you see that volatility and you're used to it. It's like, okay, well, that's just the way the market is. I mean, and so going back to what you're asking about how do you talk to people, it's like I'm finding out that it's better to just try. I mean, not everybody's gonna get on board. I'm just happy if people didn't even know how to say Dogecoin, so it won't sound like me when I'm walking. I go, "Oh, is this Dogecoin?" So it's like, no, it's Dogecoin. I don't want them to go through that experience. If they go through and have that first step of knowing how to say it, I think it becomes part of their vocabulary.
Yeah, good point.
It becomes more. Yeah, it becomes now part of their mind. So when they see it, hopefully. Like for me, I mean, I'm still trying to get Mt. Gox and Silk Road away from the idea of Bitcoin, but it had an effect in the beginning, and I'm sure other people have too. And like when I start conversations with people, I say, I'm here to talk to you about Dogecoin. I go, what's that? And I say, it's like Bitcoin. Oh, Bitcoin. Yeah, I don't want anything to do with that. And I say, yeah, I know what you're thinking, but that's not how it works. And I'm surprised a lot of people that I run into still think that Bitcoin's a company.
Yeah, or that it's bankrupt. That's one I hear all the time. Isn't Bitcoin bankrupt?
Yeah. Oh, that stuff's no good. Yeah. And I got to show them. Okay, you don't have to take my word for it. Here, let me just Google this and Google that, and you can see.
That's right.
I had whatever misinformation you have is it's not true at all, and none of it's true. This is the truth here, and so what I've learned from the Reddit forum is that everybody's got all these ideas. And I'm glad everybody's posting ideas. Some of them are half-baked. Some of them have a lot of potential, but it doesn't matter. Someone has to just do them. And I made posts in the past saying, look, I'm going to just do whatever I think is going to suit me and what I felt is within my means. And whether I pass or fail it, I'm going to tell you how it went so that you can take that information and do with it what you want. Just do something. And that's what I feel is the best approach. Just do something. It doesn't matter what it is, as long as you get the awareness out there. Yeah. Some people are comfortable with just doing flyers. Some people love talking to people, and it doesn't really matter as long as you just get that phrase out there, Dogecoin. And I think the more people see it, the more accepting they are. Yes, the best step would be if people are buying services with it, and that's where I'm kind of like hesitant to approach a lot of merchants yet, because I'm doing little experiments. Okay, I'm gonna talk to this person. I'm gonna see how they click with our conversation, and then we'll see where it goes. But I'm surprised. Some of the merchants that I've talked to, my first tier of merchants that I went to, they picked up real quick, and it goes, oh, I'm going to save money because of the low transaction fees, or none. Yep. And they like that. The thing here is trying to convince them to not sell it or trade it for fiat.
Yeah, right away. Exactly.
And that's the problem that I have with them. Of course, they're more likely to hold on to Bitcoin than they are to Dogecoin. Yeah. But if it just means to get them onto cryptocurrency, I think once they see their customers using it, then they might start changing their perspective on things. But just right now, just having them accept something is a step.
Yeah, that's an interesting idea, because one of the issues that plagues digital currencies right now is it's for people. We have this funny paradigm where it seems like it's hard to use, but in all reality, it's as easy, if not easier, to use than we have debit cards in Canada or credit cards. It's just as easy to use as that. If you have a mobile wallet, like I have an Android phone, I can trade and give you Dogecoin and receive Dogecoin immediately, and it's not hard. You just scan. It's actually easier than using like a debit card that I have. I have to insert to a machine, press where I want the funds to go, enter my special code, this and that. And with Dogecoin, all you have to do is essentially scan the other person's phone. So the technology itself is easier. You already mentioned the lack of transaction fees, which is definitely appealing to to merchants and all of that. And what another thing that was brought up in the San Francisco conference recently, actually, is that when you use a credit card, there's like 15 different things that happen behind the scenes, and you don't have to understand how credit cards work. all you care about is that you pay a monthly statement at the end, or however it works, right? There's networks and gateways and processes that go on behind the scenes. And crypto or digital currencies can get to that point too, where the regular person doesn't necessarily need to understand exactly how the blockchain works or exactly how mining works, because they're not involved in that part, right? I don't know how credit cards work exactly. Like, I don't understand the technology on a very fundamental level behind it, yet I still use it, right? So there is a critical mass for sure. And once that happens, like you said, merchants start seeing the benefits in it, and consumers start demanding that they can pay in it, and it becomes a real currency. That's where you see like a crazy value, because if you're trading it as a currency, then you've accomplished something that all other digital currencies have failed at so far.
To go to that point about merchants, what I'm putting together is a tip jar kit, and I know people in the Dogecoin community want merchants to receive payment for services with Dogecoin, but I think we should just continue moving on with the tipping part of it.
That's a good idea.
Yeah. So what I was thinking of doing is putting together a kit where it has a QR code for that particular merchant. So when I go meet them, and I get them to agree to have this tip jar on their counter, on the spot, we will set up their account, and we either will use the Doge API or maybe Moolah, something where it's going to be easy for them to track, and then I'll have a mobile printer and print out the QR code for them, because I'm trying to do as many steps for them so that they will do it. I'm afraid if I just leave them literature, they're not going to do anything about it. They're busy.
Yep, exactly.
Yes. So if I can get this all condensed down to like a 30-minute or less conversation, have it all set up in 30 minutes, and then walk away, and then they can watch it grow. That's exactly what I'm trying. That's my aim. So what I'm thinking at the moment is to have a tip jar kit where I go in, talk to them about it, and then there's nothing to lose. Just go ahead and give it a shot, and then what I'm hoping is that they can get notified or have it so easy for them to check on a weekly basis and see where they stand on their accrual of Doge or whatever they choose to use. But at least start them off with Doge, because it's going to be, I'm trying to make it as easy as possible for them. And having that tip jar kit out on the counter is also twofold. It's helping the merchant, but it's also providing awareness to consumers, like, you can tip this merchant. You might not have the cash in hand, but you can tip them with a Dogecoin, and have another QR code off to the side to get them set up on their Android phone. Mm-hmm. Yeah, so that's something I'm working on now.
That's a really, really good idea, actually. And you're playing to the underlying strength of Dogecoin already, is the tipping feature. So you've just brought that into the physical world, which I'm actually surprised. That's as far as I can tell, an original idea. I spent a lot of time on that subreddit too. And I have not. You got to make a post about that. Maybe in the.
I might have. In the past.
maybe in the Dogecoin PR. I feel like those group of people would appreciate that, because you already said it. It's a twofold purpose. You can tip someone, which is the strength of the coin itself, and then you're raising awareness and letting it be known for sure. That's a brilliant idea. If I can help you with that, let me know. I mean, we talk on Reddit, so keep me in touch with that for sure.
So yeah, so the only part that I'm kind of hindered on is mobile printer. I mean, I'm not expecting people to be doing this. They can do it. I mean, they can figure out another kit if they don't think the tip jar kit would work. My take on it is I want to have it ready to go. So it's like, as soon as I say, yeah, I'll sign up, then okay, I want to show them that it's transparent. I don't have access to your account. Here we are. We're going to type it up right now. Just type it in front of me, and then I'm going to print it out, and here's your QR code, here's your private key. I don't know anything about it. I'm going to just print it out for you and slap it on this tip jar kit, and we're going to put it on your counter. So I'm just trying to make it where it's going to be as honest and transparent for them, so that they would take the bait and do it, because if I can make it easy for them, I think they will do it. I'm not saying it's going to be 100% effective, but it's a shot. And another thing that I'm working on right now too is doing flea markets, where we have like Michelle Gondry, I think that's his name right. He's a filmmaker. He was I think the filmmaker behind Science of Sleep. He also did the videos for Bjork, and it's like a cardboard kindergarten crayon construction paper model of life. So it's real cutesy and a real fun depiction. I don't know if you know what I'm talking
actually,
about,
it's funny. I studied a little bit of his work in university, so yeah, I do.
Okay,
I do know who he is.
Yeah, so I had it in my head. It's like I can create a lemonade stand, but it's a Dogecoin ATM, and it's a cardboard box. It's like real goofy, and I was thinking, okay, maybe I could show up at a flea market and just be an ATM, just be a cardboard box ATM. It's a little silly, but it gets the image in the mind, and that is like we're about having fun. And I was thinking, okay, from that point, I was thinking, okay, have a flea market specifically for people to buy and sell goods for Dogecoin.
I just saw there's a Doge it might be a Bitcoin Boulevard. I think it's a Bitcoin Boulevard, but in the United States there. Now I forget which town, but they have I think 4 or 5 stores in a row that all accept Bitcoin. And along with your flea market idea, it's starting to become good weather here in Toronto too. And I do a farmer's market. Random. I'm a digital currency enthusiast and a farmer, so I'm going to accept and promote Dogecoin at the farmers market, which is essentially a flea market, right? At the end of the day, So it's funny we're parallels again.
That's another thing I find so exciting when I go onto the Reddit is like I might have these ideas throughout the day and like I'm just doing my job like what can I do today to support Dogecoin? How can I promote it and all that? And I go onto the Reddit forum and it's like, hey, I was thinking about that too. Oh, that's it. It's like we're all on the same page. It's like there's this collective consciousness that's growing. And so I don't. Before I felt like I had to do more work. I had to get out there and just hit the dirt and just keep on going at it. And now I'm seeing that other people are doing fragments of what I'm thinking, or even improvements of what I'm doing, and I take less stress. It's because like, okay, great. It's not just me. I don't have to feel like it's a crusade on my part. It's everybody's crusade, and so it puts it, it makes it back in an enjoyable hobby of mine on the side, and that is, to go out there and do this. And of course, I don't want to do it alone. So it's like, well, that's one of the part of having the meetup. The meetup is partly for educating the public, but also try to find people who want to do these things with me, and we can go out there and synchronize our efforts and get more done in a short amount of time. Another thing that we're planning to do is document what we're doing. I'm talking to some filmmakers to document as Dogecoin becomes spread out through our community, and how people change their attitudes, their opinions about it when they're starting to use it and all that.
Yeah, have you noticed, this is true for my life, I've seen some posts on this before too, but when you start tipping and you start receiving tips and you interact with other sheebs or shibes on the forum, it starts to change how you act in real life too. Like you start tipping people for random reasons, and you start giving larger tips. Like I just ate dinner tonight at a restaurant, and for whatever reason I just didn't feel like counting change, so I tipped a couple bills, which is way more than I would have normally tipped a year ago or something like that. You find changes like that too?
I've always been a generous tipper, so it hasn't really changed much on that part. But I do find it refreshing that people are not attacking each other. Yeah. And that's something that as you said, it's no other place on the internet. Yeah, I only see it in the Dogecoin forum. But I love Reddit, but I don't see too many new people going on there and searching for stuff. And that's the problem. It's just stacking and stacking and stacking. And I just hope there's going to be some other way to get the word out without people making it more work. Because that's what I feel like. I am dedicated. I am going to put the work in. But if I'm just talking, to somebody and then they go online that night to go look it up, I don't see them spending more than 5 seconds.
Yeah, that's absolutely right. I think that was actually addressed earlier today in the forum too. That Reddit is a news site, not a true forum, right? It's there's been lots of talk obviously about the front page and censorship and all of that. I'm sure if you spent any time on Reddit this week, you couldn't have avoided it. And it makes it hard for new people, like you said. Oh, you have someone that's pumped up. That's okay. I'm gonna go check it out. They actually go through with the process of looking it up online when they get home, and they come to the front page of Reddit, which could be hit or miss, right? It could be, oh my goodness, this is amazing. All the posts here are informational. They're all great. Someone just gave me Dogecoin. Like, here we go, yada yada yada. Or it could be miss, where you're like, what is going on? This is chaos. I have no idea what these people are talking about. How do I get involved if I'm new? It was brought up earlier today that there needs to be a different style, a different presentation of information, basically. So new people, the accessibility is something I think I'm going to really try and focus on too, because it's the most important thing. Like you said, you have your cardboard ATM. Is someone going to be fearful or you know, like you know what I'm saying? As opposed to, like, I picture a Bitcoin ATM being like the size of my basement and like talking in a robot voice. It was unapproachable for me, and that's it's a marketing thing, and that's something that a lot of the coins, Bitcoin included, kind of lack, is it's a simple marketing strategy to get to the masses, right? Like you're a foot soldier. Most Shibes or Shibes are like the foot soldier type. Like, we're out there doing stuff. You're talking to your friends probably constantly about it. Probably bugging your wife with it. But there's no way, like you said, when you're brand new, and like, we're all internet users, so you're probably already used to Reddit. Reddit itself is kind of a complicated technology, as funny as that sounds, right? So if you can't just go on to Dogecoin.com and get started immediately, really, really, really easily, and I'm talking like, it's got to be easier than the sign up for PayPal, right? It's got to be click, okay, I got 1 Doge, or I have 10 Doge, and now I'm introduced to, you know, it's got to be accessible. It's got to be easy, and that is the way that the 99% of people that aren't even using digital currencies right now are going to get involved. And I doubt that once you get involved with Dogecoin, that you'd have any reason to go to Bitcoin or Litecoin or anything like that. Why would you, right? Like, you already have a working system.
Yeah, for me personally, I do buy Bitcoin only to go trade it for Dogecoin, because I've tried all different venues, and it's like, okay, some exchanges is better for me just to just buy the Bitcoin and just trade it for Doge, and that's all I do. And it's like, I like I was telling you, I listen to the Bitcoin community, and I know their potential, and I'm looking forward for them to do well, because the way I see it is they have all the core developers, they have all the funding, and it's not going to take much for them to make modifications to their software or their applications or services to add on Dogecoin. Look at the exchanges; they all start off with Bitcoin, and because of the rising popularity of Dogecoin, they announced to the world, "Hey, we're going to also trade Dogecoin." Simple as that. Just takes people, and it doesn't take software geniuses. It just takes people to take to value something, and they'll see the value and they'll add it on. And that's why I'm not too concerned about, do we have core developers? Of course they're going to go to Bitcoin. There's a lot at stake there, but we are growing, and anything is possible. And that's one thing that people will constantly ask me, like, where do you see this going? And I go, I don't know. Just go out there and do something. Yeah. It's like, we are the, it's like, be the change you want to see in the world. Be Gandhi. That's pretty much what we have to do here. Just be Gandhi. Go out there. The only thing that I do agree with that we all have to do is make it as easy as possible.
Yeah, for sure.
And have some. I mean, people don't want to say centralized, but we need to have some place to point and say, go there if you need more information. But don't go over there because it's too technical. Go here to get started. And so Reddit, great, but I don't think it's good enough for the masses. I think it's going to be YouTube. I'm glad that you have this podcast, and I'm hoping there's going to be people like you who will disseminate the information in audio or video, where people can just sit down for a few seconds and listen to what they need to hear, and then move on. And then it's just take a little bite size.
Yeah, absolutely.
Bits of information, and not having to dedicate a night to read every branch on this discussion. And it's like,
no one wants to read Satoshi's white paper as an introduction, right?
I know. I remember I saw that, and like, what is this stuff? I don't like. No, thank you. And it wasn't until a podcaster talked about it did I start wanting to read it, because I needed to hear it from somebody else who can break it down into layman terms for me to understand, because it was just too far-fetched. But now that I've, that's the one thing, I wanted to bring up to you is that I like Dogecoin because it wasn't Bitcoin that got me interested in the concepts. It was Dogecoin. Now I'm excited about the blockchain. Now I'm excited about all the potential that's going to come from that. Then the Bitcoin community, they talk about that Bitcoin is just an example of the blockchain technology. Yeah. And there's other ideas that can come from it. And now I'm starting to see it. And it's like, we're still a couple of years away, but we have to start practicing using the blockchain, and the currency is the most tangible way of doing it.
And it seems inevitable. I mean, to me, like it just seems like it has to happen. That I don't think it can be stopped. The genie's out of the bottle kind of idea here. Correct. Because the internet has changed the way we communicate in every single way, and it's lacking on the financial. I mean, we have it has dramatically affected the financial and economic world, but not on a fundamental way like it has, where email has replaced regular mail. Social networks have replaced the physical gatherings and stuff like that in a lot of circumstances. And you have PayPal, you have credit cards online and banking online, but nothing that is like a native species of the internet for the economy yet. Well, we do have it, but it's not as main, like Bitcoin, the blockchain idea, Dogecoin, blockchain idea, same thing. It exists, but it hasn't grasped the entire internet like the other communication mediums have yet. And I think it's inevitable that it's just going to take over. Like, it makes so much sense. So,
yeah, I deep in my heart, what I'm trying to do is get to the point where I can get to talk to immigrants or people who depend on money remittance. I personally have people in my extended family who have to send money out to their loved ones in other countries, and I talked to them. And I said, "How much do you spend?" And one of them told me $500 easily in 6 months.
Like a Western Union transfer or something.
Yeah.
Oh, gosh, yeah.
And then when I try to talk, I'm like, I get all feared up, and I want to talk about Dogecoin, but that's the problem. They're not there yet. It's like there's so many concepts in between that they have to understand to get to that point. But the thing is, I just feel that they're exploited, and I want to tell them, like, be your own bank. You have control of your financial power, not someone else. It's you, and using Dogecoin will help you get to that. And that's why I'm trying to meet people through the meetup group that will help me reach out to communities who really need this. And so it's gonna take a little bit of a while, but that's my goal. Is I want to reach out to the people who need it the most. And I think it's not so much the Western world; it's the developing world. And it's like to have this at their disposal. Just so much money could be saved. So much money goes back to them, and they could do so much with it.
Oh yeah, absolutely. All right, cool. So guys, the listeners, start up a meetup group in your local area, or see if one exists and attend it, and get together with people that are like-minded and want to get it going. I want to move on to maybe some lighter stuff here for the last little bit of the of our discussion. Are you a NASCAR fan by any chance?
No, I was not, but I am now. I hope they make it to the point where I can see a little Hot Wheel car coming out of it. I would collect it.
Yeah, absolutely. Obviously, I'm getting at the Josh Wise. So I woke up this morning to a bunch of posts about how NASCAR's voting system has installed CAPTCHAs. I don't know if you've read that yet.
Yeah.
So I'm pretty sure that has something to do with the insane quantity of votes that Josh Wise has accumulated over the past month or whatever we've been voting for. And I'm excited. Like I'm in the same boat as you. I never really watched NASCAR, but I'll be sure to be watching Talladega. That's already on my calendar, and it's not too far away, right? Do you know what the date is for Talladega?
May 6th.
May 6th. All right, awesome. Yeah. And are you doing anything special for May 4th? Buy anything with Doge Day?
I'm sorry, I haven't given it much thought. I actually, hold on a second. I'm glad you brought that up, because I think another thing that's great about Dogecoin is that we're trying to grow our community, but I think it's also helping us become entrepreneurial. And it's like I am starting to consider being a business owner myself, because I'm going to have these freedoms of being able to do things that I couldn't do before because I had to sign up for all these services and everybody gets a cut.
Yeah.
Here I control all that, and so I'm glad that some of the people on the forum were talking about incentivizing consumers to purchase with Dogecoin rather than with fiat, and it's exactly what I'm going to do. I want to have something that if you use Doge, you get a bigger discount, and I would think that's going to work. I think that if you show people a bargain, they're going to do whatever it takes to get the bargain.
Yeah.
And I think that will do it.
It's a really, really, really elegant way to explain to someone. This is how every conversation is going to go. If someone's never heard of Dogecoin or digital currencies, why would I use that? I have Canadian dollars in Canada, I have US dollars. Why would I use Dogecoin? And if you have the simple answer, because you're going to save money. It's cheaper to buy things. Well, what do you mean? Well, if you buy this, there's a lot of things you can already buy with Dogecoin. Actually, you can pretty much almost buy anything, I imagine, if you looked hard enough. But if a lot of merchants, like you said, start providing discounts, you can say, well, you can save 10% if you, or 15% or whatever, even if it's 5%, which is about the same transaction. It's about the same as a transaction fee for a credit card in a bank. Once you really break it down, you pass those savings on to the consumer. That's a really, really easy way, and really easy way to point out the benefits of using it. Well, why would I use it? Because you're going to save money. It's really, how do you get simpler than that, right? Everyone wants to save money.
Yes, but that being said, it still has to be easy to set up, and I think because I go to an ATM and it's like people will cash out, even though they might have to pay up to $3 for the cash, they'll still do it because of the convenience. It's so easy for them, and it's like, well, to me that sounds absurd to do that, but we do it because that's what we know, and it's easy. We're all looking for the most convenient thing, and that's the part that we need to work on.
Yeah, that's why a quart of milk costs double at a convenience store as opposed to a super center, right? yeah, I hear you. Well, is there anything else that you want to say? Any plugs, any advertising, or how can people get in touch with you if they're in the Seattle area or want to participate in your meetup?
Well, if they want to participate in the meetup and they're in the Seattle area, just go to meetup.com and just look up Seattle Dogecoin. Right. And that's simple enough. And if they want to contact me directly, they can reach me at ShibeSpeak@gmail.com. And I want to make sure that everybody knows that I don't care if you're in Seattle or not. If you want to discuss ideas, just hash out something, I'll be happy to talk to you, because I'm always looking for great ideas. Mine or somebody else's, I want to use the best ideas that are out there. I only have so much time to do this through the week, and I want to see what's the most effective way of getting out there and spreading the word. So if you're looking to try to develop something, and you just want someone to talk to, definitely please contact me.
Awesome. I love it. All right. Thanks a lot, Frank. Well, there we go, guys. That was the first episode of SHIBE Speak, and this is a shout out for all the people who want to do an interview or talk, or if you have something to say, I'd love to have you as a guest on SHIBE Speak. I have to be honest, that interview went way better than I thought it was going to be. When I started this podcast, I didn't know how it was going to happen. I talked to Frank a little bit after the show, and one of the ideas I expressed to him, and he kind of has the same philosophy, but you have to do something. You have to act. It's cool to think. It's cool to talk, but like, got to do it. This show, I just went with it, and I hope the shows are getting better and better as time goes on. But the main thing is, do something, act. So if you want to be a guest on the Doge-O-Radio show, on SHIBE Speak, or the Doge Park Bark, which is coming up, just get in touch with me, guys. Like, I'm a real approachable person. I try to check my Reddit and emails and stuff like that throughout the day. So, get in touch with me. I'm pretty flexible as far as when we can record it. And yeah, like let's get a discussion going. Let's hear some voices of the community members. Give you guys something to do while you browse the subreddit, or while you're sitting on a train or something like that. You can just pop in the headphones, and this is real light. There's not too much technical stuff. You can can just enjoy hearing other sheeps speak about the topics they wish to speak about. And one of the big messages Frank has, and one of the things he's done, and actions again speak so loudly, is he started a meetup, and he's got other people who are interested in the Seattle area. So yeah, don't be afraid to get in touch with him either. So this next section, I've done the SHIBE Speak, and I'm really happy about it. I got a smile on my face right now. My next section that I want to get going is the Doge Park Bark. And in this section, it's just basically a ragtag, homage, collage, quilt, whatever metaphor I can find. But I want it to be audio files or shoutouts or maybe some small advertising. Like, I'm not even asking to be paid, but if you got a product or something that you want me to feature, I'd be happy to feature one or two of those things a week. And it's for the community. I want people to be more involved. I mean, Frank really stepped up to the plate, and we set a time. We first had technical difficulties on both our ends, and then the second day, he was prompt. We got it done. It only took half an hour, 40 minutes, and then we talked forever afterwards. But it's really easy. I'm really laid back and really easygoing, and I'm a really open-minded person. So guys, get involved. Like, I'm going to keep saying it until everyone does get involved. So you're probably already mad because you've heard it 40 times this radio show, but do something, comment, get in touch with me, those kind of things, because it's cool to hear voices, and it's really cool to have this podcast thing. I want to give a couple shout outs. We're in the Doge Park Bark section now, officially. So my first shout out is to the Dogecast. They had their first episode, and I watched it on Google Hangouts Live. First time I've ever been on the Google Hangouts Live, and it was awesome. And I just want to say props to those guys. They mentioned me at the very beginning of the show, and I thought it was awesome. The video, seeing you guys is a nice touch. They obviously have the international flair. There's some UK and some America. South Carolina, I think one of the hosts is from. And it's just, again, so good to see so many people involved in the community and doing things. So shout out to you guys. And if you guys haven't checked it out, they have it available on YouTube as well. Because the way that the Google Live Hangouts works is it records it right to YouTube after. So yeah, go check them out. They got lots of cool stuff to talk about, lots of cool things to say, some important information there if you missed it. And my second shout out is to Good Sheep, because you keep doing what you're doing. It's awesome. Your work in the community is basically pushing, it inspires me, and I think it inspires some other people. So just want to say a shout out to you. And saw you writing in the chat section on the Ustream live stream of Dogecoin San Francisco. I couldn't tell if you were there or not, but again, it's awesome to have people like you in the community. So my last little shout out here, I'm adding right before I release the podcast. I was on the Dogecoin subreddit last night, and I was browsing through, and I saw a post. The TeaDoge is selling tea for Dogecoin. So guys, if you want to check that out, the username is TeaDoge on the subreddit. He sells a bunch of different teas at really, really reasonable prices. If you live in the U.S., it looks like there's shipping is included, and if you're an international SHIBE, you have to get in touch with them to see how much extra it costs. But we had a little conversation because someone asked him for matcha tea, and I got into matcha tea a long time ago. 2 years ago, I started drinking matcha tea, and then about a year and a half ago, I started importing it and selling it, and it's been going okay. But my point about it all is he doesn't sell, or she doesn't sell it on their Moolah store, and then he had no problem, or she had no problem just forwarding my Moolah store with the matcha. And you don't usually see businesses giving away business to other businesses, but I guess it makes sense because there's no matcha on the store. And so we got talking, obviously, and there's something that I want to say is that the TeaDoge is helping build the Doge economy one cup at a time. And you can check TeaDoge out at Talladega. They'll be serving free tea to everyone all weekend. So you gotta love that. You gotta be thankful for that. And honestly, thanks again, TeaDoge. We can work something out in the future. We're gonna figure it out as far as business is concerned. But I needed to give you a shout out. And there's one more thing I wanted to talk about. After I was done the SHIBE Speak this week with Frank, we talked about this idea of the tip jar. And it's a physical poster or flyer or something that sits on the merchant's desk where a tip jar normally is. And what it is just a simple QR code with the merchant's wallet, public address wallet. So basically it takes the place of a regular tip jar where you just throw change in or bills in. And the idea being that if you want to tip a merchant for their services or products or whatever, you just send them Dogecoin that way. There's a lot of good things about this. Number one, it's a no-risk way for people to be introduced to Dogecoin because you're not buying stuff. You don't have to convert anything. It's just tips. So talk about a really relaxed way to be introduced to how it works. Number two, it brings that tipping nature that Dogecoin already has online into the physical world. So, I mean, it makes sense. There's continuity there. And number three, depending on how it's designed, and this is where it needs to be, I would like some help figuring it out or some suggestions or some designs to be submitted. You can have a ton of exposure with Dogecoin. There's a story, because I've posted this idea last night. There was a story about a guy who works at a flea market, and he had someone take a picture of his Dogecoin sign, and then 10, 20 people came up after wanting to talk about it, wanting to see about it. So that's a cool idea. I'm going to post it over in Dogecoin PR. I want to flush it out. I want to hear what you guys have to say, but the physical tip jar. And that's got to be it for today's show. Sorry there's no music. It's gone on forever, this show, so I don't want to take all your weekend. And have a good Sunday, guys. And the happening is about to happen, so I did get the second show or the third show in before that happened. And I'll see everybody on the moon. Bye.